Yes, I finally saw it, so now let's finally talk about it. I'm sorry this review's kinda late, but it's really hard to get into this movie. There was no advanced screening in Boston, or at least none that I knew of, and opening weekend tickets sold out like that. Thankfully, I was able to see it just now, so here we go. Star Wars: The Last Jedi. So Star Wars: The Last Jedi is a sequel to Star Wars: The Force Awakens. It's episode 8 in the Star Wars saga. The continuing adventures of Rey, Finn, Poe, and now we got Luke Skywalker in the mix, and now we just gotta bring the First Order down, and so here we go. And this movie is insane. I really mean that. The stakes are really high in this movie. You feel like this Resistance just does not have their shit together when it comes to fighting the First Order. The First Order has bigger guns, bigger ships, they can just overpower the Resistance easily. But it's all about that hope, the hope that we can power through this. I feel like that was done very well. And that's just one of the aspects of this movie. There are several story arcs in this film concerning different characters, not unlike Empire Strikes Back. We got the Resistance fighting the First Order, we have Rey and Luke on the island. This story arc was interesting because you really get to explore the Force in never before seen ways. And I'm gonna give all sorts of props to Daisy Ridley and Mark Hamill as Rey and Luke Skywalker. They were amazing in this movie. I loved them. Because Rey still really doesn't know what she wants out of this. She's scared. She has discovered this thing that's been inside her whole life, but it's now just awoken, and she just doesn't know how to, go about this. There's fear, there's temptation. And then for Luke, it's really hard because the shit he previously went through not too long ago with Kylo Ren, that left a mark on him, and now he is just broken. And now Rey comes along and she wants to drag him back into the mess. Makes for some really good character moments between Rey and Luke. I thought it was awesome. Went really deep. Meanwhile, Finn has sort of a separate story arc with Rose, a new character played by Kelly Marie Tran. And I really like their chemistry too. They're both socially awkward, so there's that kind of energy between them. So I really like how that affected their relationship. And I really like Rose because I related to her a lot. There are certain things about her character that I saw myself in her. Their story arc though, their separate mission that they go on was one of the things about this movie I was like, I didn't hate it. Like, I saw some reviews, some people said they just could have done completely without that. I didn't mind it, but it was one of the weaker parts of the movie to me. Now, Adam Driver as Kylo Ren is so good in these new Star Wars movies. He's one of my favorite characters. And I'm not gonna give anything away, don't worry about that, but just the emotions he conveys are spot on. I gotta say, his story arc in this film is definitely my favorite. Oh, and I'm just gonna get this out of the way. I hate porgs. I might be alone on this, but I hate them. I can't stand them. They're annoying as hell, and I'm glad they were not in the movie that much. They did nothing for me. They did nothing for the movie. They did not affect the plot at all. Like, I never hated the Ewoks, but now I can see why some people can't stand the Ewoks. I feel that way about porgs. I don't know. Just hate me if you want, but I can't. I hate these things. I just hate them. Alright, now getting into the meat of this movie itself without spoiling anything, I'll say this movie's a bit of a slow burn. This is the first Star Wars movie that ever actually felt like a slow burn to me. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but there were some parts where I did feel like it was kind of dragging. I was like, alright, can we get to something actually exciting here? The slow parts were either informative or some really good character moments. But when you're going into this movie, you're like, okay, I want the answers to the questions The Force Awakens gave me. And yeah, we do get some answers, but in between all these big scenes with the answers, there are like some points where I did feel like it was dragging just a little bit. Of course, when it does get to those exciting answer revealing scenes, holy shit, some shit goes down in this movie that'll blow your freaking mind if you're a Star Wars fan. Like, oh my god. Which I give all sorts of props to Rian Johnson, the writer and director of this film, for taking Star Wars in bold new directions. Because I think the biggest complaint about Star Wars: The Force Awakens was that it was too much like the original Star Wars. So I feel like Rian Johnson was like, alright, whatever we do, we gotta make this new every way we can. So alright, there are things in this movie that Star Wars movies have never done before, and most of it I really liked. Some things, however, I was like, I don't know about that. There's one moment in particular, like around the beginning, I was like, okay, that's just strange. And I couldn't help but notice some similarities in this film to The Empire Strikes Back. I'm not saying this is a remake of Empire Strikes Back, it's totally not. But there were some things where I was like, oh, this exactly happened in Empire Strikes Back. You can't really deny that. But again, for every flaw this movie might have, there are some equally awesome moments here, and there are some things, again, where the audience was like, holy shit, I can't believe that just happened. It's a new Star Wars movie. That'll happen. And John Williams' score in this movie is awesome. It's fantastic. I might like it even more than Force Awakens if I'm being completely honest. John Williams wrote a new theme for Rose that I really like, and of course he brought back a whole bunch of other themes like Rey's theme, Kylo Ren's theme, Leia's theme, the Resistance March. It's all back in this movie, and it's all really good. Guys, in the end, I applaud Star Wars: The Last Jedi for going in those bold new directions. I still love the characters. I love their story arcs to death. I love Rey, I love Luke, I love Kylo Ren, I love Finn. Visually, the movie is awesome, as you would expect. It's really cool in 3D. I love the music, I love the action. That fight between Finn and Captain Phasma is one of my favorite fights in the movie. It's actually really cool. That was a highlight to me. And there are other action scenes like the aerial space fights. Those were really cool. And there's one scene, well, I can't talk about it. It's the scene that makes you go, holy shit, that just happened! If you've seen the movie already, you know what I'm talking about. So yeah, Star Wars The Last Jedi does have flaws, but every movie has flaws. I still have got to say, go see this movie right now. So, Star Wars The Last Jedi. Have you seen it? What did you think about it? Whatever you think, go ahead and leave a comment. And don't forget to subscribe.